The price of paradise. When my sister's wedding became a web of lies. Today, on our space, I loaned my sister money for her Dubai wedding after she claimed it was for venue complications, only to discover she lied and used it to fly her fiancé's family there instead. I always believed that family meant honesty above all else, that the bonds we share are built on trust, on transparency, on having each other's backs, not taking advantage of one another. But sometimes the people closest to us reveal sides we never knew existed. And sometimes those revelations come wrapped in ivory tulle and destination wedding invitations. Let me start from the beginning. Maybe you'll understand. My little sister Katie has always dreamed big. While I was practical and grounded, she was the one with stars in her eyes, the one who knew exactly what she wanted her wedding to look like since she was 12. A fairy tale, she'd always say. Something unforgettable. So when she called me screaming with excitement that Chris had proposed, I knew exactly what was coming next. The wedding of the century. What I didn't know was that I'd be funding it under false pretenses. Dubai. 4 days of celebration, a luxury hotel that costs more than my first car. When Katie first told me her plans, I smiled and nodded, already mentally calculating how to afford the £2,900 per person price tag that my husband and I would need to cover. But that's what you do for the people you love, right? You show up, you celebrate their happiness, you eat the costs, literally and figuratively, because some moments only come once in a lifetime. So I said yes. I agreed to be her maid of honor. I started saving, cutting back on little luxuries, picking up extra work where I could. My parents did the same. We were all in this together, supporting Katie's dream, even if it strained our own finances. Chris and Katie were doing well for themselves. She was making £88,000 a year, and he earned even more. They could afford the extravagance. We were just along for the ride. Then came the phone call that changed everything. Katie and Chris, voices strained with worry, explaining that they needed help. The venue had increased their prices, they said. Dubai law had unexpected complications, they claimed. They needed £17,000 more, or they'd lose everything they'd already paid. My heart sank, but I didn't hesitate. I can loan you £7,000, I offered. My parents, always generous to a fault, promised the other £10,000. We drew up repayment plans, made it official. We believed them. Why wouldn't we? It was at a bridal shower 3 weeks later that I learned the truth. Not from Katie, but from one of the bridesmaids who'd had too much Prosecco and let it slip. "It's so nice of you to help pay for Chris's family to come," she said, glass tilting dangerously in her hand. "They would have missed it otherwise." I felt like I'd been doused in ice water. "What do you mean?" I asked, forcing my voice to stay steady. The truth came tumbling out then. The £17,000 wasn't for venue costs or legal complications. It was to fly Chris's family to Dubai, his parents, his 2 brothers, even his nephew. They'd refused to pay the exorbitant costs themselves, so Katie and Chris had decided to cover it for them. Using our money they'd lied to get. The drive home from that shower was a blur of betrayal and questions. Why would they lie? Why pay for his family but expect ours to foot our own bills? And most importantly, if they couldn't afford this wedding without deception, why were they having it at all? I confronted Katie that night, asked her point blank if what I'd heard was true. Her silence was answer enough, but then she confirmed it, her voice small. "Because they can afford it," she said when I asked why they hadn't offered to pay for our parents too. As if our ability to pay somehow justified the lie, as if having money made us less deserving of honesty. "If you genuinely thought this was the fairest way," I asked, my voice surprisingly calm despite the anger coursing through me, "why did you lie about what the £17,000 was for?" Why say it was a venue issue? She couldn't answer that, couldn't meet my eyes. My parents were devastated when I told them, but in that way parents often are, hurt, but determined to move forward, to preserve the peace. We're still going, my father said, his voice heavy with disappointment but resolute. It's your sister's wedding. We'll deal with the dishonesty later. But I couldn't do it. Couldn't get past the manipulation, the way they'd exploited our love and trust. So I made the hardest decision. I told Katie I wouldn't be attending her wedding, wouldn't be her maid of honor, wouldn't stand beside her in Dubai as if everything was fine when my heart was so heavy with betrayal. The fallout was immediate and fierce. Katie called me selfish, dramatic. Chris texted that I was ruining their special day. Even some of our mutual friends suggested I was overreacting. It's just money, they said. Family is more important. But this wasn't just about money. This was about honesty, about respect, about the foundation of what family means. If they had come to us openly, we want both our families there, but Chris's can't afford it. Can you help? I might have still said yes. It was the deception that broke my heart, that made me question everything I thought I knew about my sister. So here I sit, 3 weeks before what should have been a celebration, scrolling through messages I haven't answered. My husband supports my decision but worries about the long-term damage to my relationship with Katie. My parents call daily, gentle pressure to reconsider. You'll regret not being there, my mother says. Maybe she's right. Maybe the memories of her wedding day would have been worth swallowing my pride. But there's a voice inside me that won't be silenced. The voice that says some things matter more than photographs and champagne toasts. Some principles can't be compromised, even for the people we love most. Especially for the people we love most. When I think about what kind of sister, what kind of friend, what kind of person I want to be, I keep coming back to the same answer. The kind who values truth. The kind who doesn't enable deception, even when it would be easier. The kind who believes that real love shouldn't cost you your integrity. So I won't be in Dubai next month. I won't be in the wedding photos or the video montage. But I'll be here, hoping that someday Katie understands that my absence wasn't about punishing her. It was about staying true to myself, to the values I thought we shared. Maybe that makes me the villain in her story. Or maybe, just maybe, it will eventually make me the sister she needs rather than the one she wants. Am I wrong for drawing this line? For refusing to celebrate a union that began with such calculated deception? For believing that family should be the last people you lie to, not the first? I don't think so. But sometimes standing in your truth means standing alone, at least for a while. What would you do in my position? Have you ever had to choose between peace and principle? Between what's easy and what's right? Let me know your thoughts in the comments. And if you enjoyed this story, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell for more. Until next time, remember that the most beautiful views aren't always in Dubai. Sometimes they're in the mirror, when you can look at yourself and know you stayed true to what matters most.